JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, written and illustrated by Hirohiko Araki, JoJo began serialization in Weekly Shonen Jump in the year of 1987. The thing that makes JoJo this special is that it was airing from 1987 and it's still airing today, starting from the bottom of the manga world and went to the top real quick, to a point that every series that is shonen after it in a way or another it references JoJo and it is inspired by JoJo itself. It earned a dedicated fandom that are very passionate about the series and created one of the best mangas to ever be created. As well as we know, JoJo is split into parts. The way that it presents itself with different protagonists in every part, it was the first of its kind, and JoJo for me is simply the most unique manga I have ever read. A lot of people seem to underestimate how big JoJo is as a series in Japan alone. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has sold over 100 million copies in print and is one of the best-selling weekly Shonen Jump series of all time. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in the Japan's media art festivals out in 2006, that is 10 years after its concluded start, Japanese fans voted JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to be the second on a list of the top 10 best mangas of all time. The first volume of JoJolion, which is the 8th part of JoJo, was second best-selling manga for a debut week, is the second volume that was number 3, and the third volume was 2 again. All the 3 volumes were some of the best-selling mangas of 2012. In a simple manner, in the West, a lot of people already know who Goku is as a character and they know from which show he comes from. In Japan, many teenagers already know who Jotaro Kujo is and from what show he comes from, as well as the same way that we know Goku in the West. Also, it's very fair to say that Hirohiko Araki, the creator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, is one of the only mangakas to transcend the way of a mangaka and to go beyond every mangaka in a way of art and a way of storytelling, not in terms of his writing or his art alone, but he was one of the first, or to say the first one, who had his art shown in the biggest museums around the world, like in France. He was one of the few mangakas to ever be in a collaboration between a fashion company as Gucci, which are of the biggest in the world, with his art that is just incredible. JoJo throughout the years went through this journey as a series, or as a franchise per se, of going at the top from the bottom, and I will say that everything after part 3 specifically are some of the best written mangas ever, with some of the most revolutionary art and writing in the manga world period. In 2004, JoJo changed from Weekly Shonen Jump to Monthly Seinen or Ultra Jump, where it defines how Araki art goes to used as his maximum, where Part 7 and Part 8 are some of the best rated works of Araki because he has time to show his talent, and some of the best works of the manga world itself. As we know, many good manga deserve to have a good adaptation in the anime form. But to be fair, JoJo struggles with that to a major part, because in the 90s, we had an OVA that wasn't the worst thing ever, but not a great adaptation per se, and the Phantom Blood movie was a disaster. But coming from that, something big happened in a specific year that I will argue changed JoJo as a franchise and brought to the anime world something big and something amazing, something as one of the best adaptations to ever be done. And in that specific year, or that specific year, is 2012.
Samurai to iero Overdrive!
JoJo's Bizarre Adventures anime, the loyal adaptation from the studio of David Production that promised to adopt every single part, and it did in a way that brought JoJo into the spotlight and became even more popular in Japan, but even outside of Japan alone. Where in the West, by the time of me recording this video, the first 4 parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures are already animated into the anime form from David Production and have been getting a high positive critical feedback from fans. 2018. What is the current state of the franchise that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures? In terms of the manga, JoJo is not at the state of climaxing as a running series itself. The running part of part 8 is so far so great and it always at the top with the releases, but I will argue that for part 8 specifically, there are many people who didn't even get to read that part because they just left the series late and they just wait for it to be finished and they can caught up to part 8 after it, which is a major fact about part 8 because being split in every single part, that is like a result to that. And for the anime, as always, brings new people into the series every day, even in the West, which is kinda at the climax of doing so because Crunchyroll and Wiz Media are pushing JoJo as a franchise into the West, and I will say that the part of the community that knows and watches JoJo is majorly addicted to the series. And recently the hype train has been pushed to 101. I will say that JoJo Part 5 got confirmed, and this is honestly the reason why it pushed me to make this video in the first place, because after JoJo Part 5 is here, everyone is either starting JoJo or just hyping it even more. The number of people that are becoming JoJo fans every single day and more that are getting into this franchise after 30 years of consistent airing makes me say that JoJo has never been this great and that I am proud of being part of this. To conclude my thoughts on the current state of JoJo is it's getting part 5 that is one of the most popular parts in Japan alone, and it will get JoJo to hit new highs as a series itself. We have a healthy mangaka working at his best to deliver one of the best parts of JoJo, JoJolion, monthly, and we are here to wait for it. JoJo is getting the popularity it needs slowly in the West because it has been missing that for the past decades, and I am proud to say in a few years time JoJo will become a major anime even bigger in the West. After all, the dub of the series is proving my statement highly because the dub alone is amazing. So far it's giving JoJo even a bigger name, especially in TV and stuff. Continue the growth in the series and in the West and in Japan as well, and maybe it will reach new highs as a manga when JoJolion gets into the climax part of it, aka the ending of JoJolion. JoJo is great right now and it always has been great, and I would like to finish this video by saying this is the best time to be a JoJo fan and it will be like this for a while. So let's enjoy part 5 anime, part 8 manga, part 4 dub, and the greatness of this 30 years old series that finally made it to be what it deserved in the English speaking countries.
We go back, we relax, hentai in the back. On the low, counting racks, I run in the pack. They show Joe, she don't know, I don't love him back.